Hello and welcome to the Horse Racing Ireland Racing Preview. My name is Sarah Barton and I'm joined by my colleague Martin Murphy. Today we're going to be looking at racing at the Curragh on Sunday the 1st of July, which is the third day in the Irish Derby Festival weekend. First race is off at 2:10, but we're going to start with the big race of the day, the 4:20. That's the Group 1 Barclays Bank Ireland Pretty Polly Stakes. This is just a really top class race, and I mean it's very hard to oppose the Oaks winner Was, but I'm actually going to side with an English trained runner in Izzy Top. She has been not outside the first three in all 8 runs to date. She's won a Group 3 and a Group 2 already this year, and of course with John Gosden and William Buick in top form at Ascot, I think I'm going to select her against the Irish fillies.
Well, yes, sir, of course, and I think you have a very good point there. Izzy Top's been in terrific form. Obviously, William Buick, John Gosden the same. And she won the Oaks in a good style. Yeah. She got the run of the race on that occasion. A lot of people say she was lucky to win, but I think, there's not that more to come from Was. Yeah. The one thing I would worry about, though, would be soft ground for her. That was on pretty good ground. She won it to Curragh last year on yielding ground, and then she finished third at Naas behind Princess Highway, which obviously was very good form as well. So Was certainly, probably deserves to start favourite. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the older fillies beating her on Sunday, because this is the first time she's run against the older fillies. I like one here called Sapphire from the Dermawell Yard. A very, very good winner in Noblesse Stakes at Cork a couple of weeks ago. Loves soft ground. She won over a mile and a half on that occasion, but I said she's equally effective over a mile and a quarter. Mm-hmm. I reckon she's got a very good chance. You've got to mention Maybe as well, of course, from the Aidan O'Brien Yard too. Top class 2-year-old, winner of 5 races in the Milder Stakes. She was third in the English Guineas, first time out to Homecoming Queen, and then got a far from trouble 3 run when she was 5th behind Was in the Epsom Oaks. Didn't look to stay on that occasion. She was withdrawn from the Coronation Stakes last week due to a late setback, and I think, although again the soft ground would be slight worry, Maybe has a definite chance. So as you say, I think it is a top class contest, but for me I'll just go with Sapphire in what should be a really exciting finish.
Yeah, I think I would worry about the trip for Maybe. I mean, all of her wins last year were over the 7 furlongs, and she just doesn't seem to have sparkled, I suppose, when stepped up. But so you're going to go for Sapphire, and with me going for Izzy Top in that race. So we'll move on then to the 4th race, which is the Friarstown Stud International Stakes, Group 3 over a mile 2. This is off at 3:45, and I'm going with the Dermot Wells trained Famous Name, who has been in the first 3 in 29 of his 33 starts. He's won from trips from 6 to 10 furlongs, from heavy ground to good to firm, and he's just been such a good representative of the stable that I can't see him being beaten.
Absolutely, sir. He's a fantastic horse, and he's been so consistent, as you said there. If this race is at Leopardstown, he'd be 3-1 on. He's almost unbeatable at Leopardstown. He's won 11 times there of his 15 wins, or maybe 16 wins now. The interesting runner here, of course, is Native Can, now trained by John Ox. This one actually hasn't raced since finishing second last in last year's Irish Derby at Curragh, so it's obviously a full year off the track. Now, he was third to Frankel in the 2000 Guineas in England in May of 2011, so he's a very, very good horse. And if he's fully ready after a year's gap, you'd have to say he's going to put it up to Famous Name. And saying that, because he hasn't run for so much, I think Famous Name probably will win on Sunday, but I wouldn't take too short a price about him. I do think Famous Name is much better going left-handed rather than right-handed. He has won at the Curragh course in the past, but he probably isn't as good there as he is at Leopardstown, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Native Can go very close.
Okay, so we'll move on then to the 7th race on the card, and that's the 5:25 at the Races Curragh Cup, another Group 3 over a mile 6. My selection in this is the filly from the Paul Deegan Yard, Midnight Soprano. She's won her last 5 races, 4 of them this year, and she won most recently over a mile 6, and that was the Saddlebeg Stakes at Leopardstown. Paul was also said to have said that he wasn't sure how good she actually could be, so I suppose he's pitching her in here to see can she do it.
And I think you have to take into account they've actually supplemented her into the race. So obviously feel that she's strongly fancied, and there's no doubt that for the most pro filly this year, Midnight Soprano is clearly the one, and it will certainly take a lot of beating on Sunday. However, she does face some useful rivals, and one I like here down towards the bottom is a horse called Macbeth, trained by Ken Condon. Just ran quite well when 4th at Ascot in the Queen's Vase over 2 miles last Friday. Now that was a decent effort. I think the mile and 6 on Sunday with soft ground, will suit him very well. He's a tough sort. He ran fourth in the Gallinoo Stakes before that, over a mile and a quarter. He also ran in the Gincy Stakes as well and finished fourth there as well. So he's very consistent. He could be a good price. He'd be my East Way selection. You would have to respect the likes of Steps to Freedom and probably Sense of Purpose as well, but maybe the ground would be against those two. So Midnight Soprano, obviously the one to beat, but I think Macbeth has a really good chance. And another one I would mention there is a horse called Hartandy from the John Ox Yard. Won his last 2 starts very well, and would obviously be a progressive individual and could go well as well.
So elsewhere on the card, I'd just like to give a mention to a 2-year-old actually in the third race on the day, and that's the 3:10, and it's from the Andy Oliver Yard, Send My Love to Rose. She won her maiden by 5 lengths and then obviously was considered good enough to be sent over for the Group 3 Albany Stakes at Ascot, but unfortunately had an incident in the stalls and was withdrawn. She's in here again and they're giving her another chance, so once she has no problem with the stalls on Sunday, I think she might run a big race.
Well, she could, Sarah, indeed. Now, she was very impressive when she won at Navan, although it was possibly a weaker race than, obviously it was definitely a much weaker race than Sunday's race. She won well on that occasion. Andy Oliver's doing very well at the moment. However, I do like a horse here from David Watchman called True Verdict. Yet to win a race, but has finished second twice at Naas. The last time against a good filly of Richard Hannon's called Sky Lantern in a list race. I think that's very solid form, and she would take a bit of beating. Another one I'd like to mention is Edward Langland's Boston Rocker. Good winner at Fairyhouse, and the second horse on that occasion actually won at Naas on Wednesday night. So that's solid form as well. But for me, I'll go with True Verdict.
Okay, and anything else on the card? Or?
Well, I think it's a very good card, Sarah. And the very last race, the 5:55, the 2 mile handicap. One I'd love to see winning here is a horse called One Cool Shabra from the Oliver Brady Yard. Oliver, of course, very popular trainer. Just won 1 mile at Clonmel in a lower grade race last time. Has been raised £12, but after just 8-5 on Sunday with soft ground in his favour, I recommend him as a solid each way bet. He was a very useful juvenile hurdler. Loves the soft ground. Couldn't get softer for him, so I think he should go well. The obvious danger there would be Scott Scalick from the Pat Flynn Yard, a good fourth at Royal Ascot Yard last week behind Simonon. Of course, went on and won again on the Saturday. So that's to me, One Cool Shabra certainly would go very well.
And I'd love to see Oliver's celebrations if he did win the last race on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So just to summarise the racing on Sunday then, in the third race at 3:10, I've given a mention to the Andy Oliver train Send My Love to Rose, with Martin opting for the David Watchman train True Verdict. In the 3:45, I'm siding with Famous Name from the Dermot Wells Yard, with Martin looking towards Native Can for John Ox. In the 4:20, the big race of the day, I'm siding with an English trained runner, Izzy Top, and Martin is going to stick with Dermot Weld and Sapphire. In the 7th race on the day, the 5:25, I'm going to go with Paul Deegan's Midnight Soprano, who Martin also likes, but he's also given a mention for the Ken Condon trained Macbeth. And in the last race, Martin is given a mention for One Cool Shabra from the Oliver Brady Yard. So another cracking day of racing at the Curragh on Sunday, and definitely worth donning the glad rags and going out, because I think the weather is due to be better on Sunday as well, and there's live music, food and fashion. So have a good day and thanks for watching.